On this week's episode, I'm joined by Maria Caetano. Maria is a Portuguese dressage rider and will be representing Portugal at the Tokyo Olympics. We discuss, amongst other things, the beauty and elegance of these horses and this sport, and what it means to Maria to be representing Portugal on the biggest stage. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, The Simple Life, and I'm delighted to be joined here by Maria Caetano. Maria, hi, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to join this conversation and talk a little bit about Portugal.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Maria, why don't you just start? I know you're sitting in Germany, so we're an hour difference in time zone. Yeah. But maybe you can just tell us a little bit about you.
Actually, I was born in Portugal and I was living in Portugal all my life. And I just moved to Germany 3 years ago for training. I'm a professional dressage rider, horse rider. So I've been competing in high level all my life since juniors. So I used to travel to Germany just for some competitions, but then 3 years ago I decided to live here for a period to training and to compete. But of course, my heart is always in Portugal, and I'm planning to be back in Portugal after the Olympics this year. So that's my passion for horses drives my life. So I'm always surrounded by horses and competing in dressage. That's a little bit about me. And now I wait a little for your questions.
Wonderful. Maria, I'm just so excited because this is the first Olympic athlete that we've had on the podcast. So thank you so much for doing this, and it's an honor. But one of the things that our listeners, we have listeners from all over the world, they love to hear about our guests and their terra and where they're from and what's special about it. So we have had a guest who has the same terra as you, as we spoke about Tomás earlier. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about your terra, why you love it, what's special about it. Over to you.
I was raised in the countryside, so in a farm. All my family are agricultures and live for the farms and for the cattle. And so my terra is Monforte in Alentejo, close to Estremoz and Porto Alegre, Elvas, all this region of Alentejo. So it's a very nice small town. Everyone knows each other, and it runs all around the agriculture, the wine, very nice food as well. And it's also known because some of the best bullfighters and riders are born there and live there, actually. So it's a town with a very strong tradition about horses, and that's why my passion comes from. And also I know, like, a small story, history actually, because a long time ago the Romans from the Roman Empire were there in Monforte, and they were breeding horses there. So right now there is a Roman, I don't know, mosaico, I don't know the English word, that was found in the Monforte ground. So it explains that there at the Roman Empire time they were breeding already horses, and it was racing horses at the time. And was a very popular land for horse breeding. So it's this relationship between Monforte and horses. It's a very, very long story. And all people there are very related with the countryside, and it's a very nice people that help each other, and I like to live there.
It sounds beautiful. I've been to that area and it's lovely. I remember one of the things that Tomás, who was the previous guest on the podcast, who he mentioned Monforte is also very famous because we had a lot of fights with the Spanish there. So Monforte is an important place because maybe if it wasn't for a place like Montfort, we would not be Portuguese. We would be Spanish. We never know.
Yeah, we never know. It's
We
right close
never
to
know.
the border, and there was an important
Yeah.
fight for the territory there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned the horse riders and the bullfighters, and one of those is your dad, I believe.
Yes, yes. My dad and my the cousin, cousin from my mother. So my second cousin.
When you talk about this place, you have a really big smile on your face. Are you missing it at the moment?
Yeah, sure. I miss it a lot. I used to travel like every month, a weekend to see my family, but it's not enough. I miss it a lot, and I have a very nice life there. The quality of life there, it's really really good, because then we are close to Spain, and we have Badajoz, that is a big city in Spain, very close, and it's also easy to get to Lisbon. So it's a very nice place to live. But of course, I miss it.
And what do you tell when you meet people in Germany and they ask you about your home? What do you like to tell them about your home?
Yeah, well, a word that comes to my mind immediately, it's peace. It's a very peaceful place, and at the same time, it's also fun to live there, because we think, you live in the countryside, and then so there's nothing to do there. But then it's nice because we know every family there, so we used to meet and to join each other for like small parties or dinner in a farm of one and another. Then we get together, so it's also fun to live there. It's not only in the city that you can have fun, so it's a nice mix.
Well, one of the things that I know happens in Alentejo, okay, a lot in Portugal, in a lot of places in Portugal, but I know Alentejo, we like to eat slowly. So a lot of our fun is around the table
Yes,
for
yes,
much longer than normal, more like a few hours, not just 1 hour.
yeah.
What's special about the food there? I mean, the Alentejo food is amazing, and the wine. I still think it's the best wine in the country. But maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I love the wine from that region. I love to sit in the table, as you said, and stay for a long time conversation with a glass of wine. And of course, the food is amazing. I like. I'm a little bit suspicious because I like all Alentejo food. But these are mainly these soups that you cannot eat anywhere the same, like the assorda soup and the tomato soup. It's I really miss it when I'm not there.
Well, that's why you spend so much time on the horses after sorda, because you need to air out the garlic, air out the smell of the garlic from the sorda. For people listening, a sorda is like it's a rustic, a very traditional soup with basically with garlic, with parsley, sometimes with bacalhau, sometimes with egg,
Yeah.
a lot of garlic.
That's true. Yeah. We like the most part of the Alentejo cuisine. Yeah.
Maria, tell us a little bit. We'll get on to the Olympics coming up. It's really, really exciting. But tell us about how being there. I mean, you mentioned that there's this relationship with horses and all of that in that area. And you mentioned a lot of your family involved with bullfighting, but you're doing something a little bit different to that. So just tell us a little bit about that journey and growing up in that environment and how it have influenced you to where you are today.
Well, since the beginning, my father, despite he's a bullfighter, he was a lover of dressage and classical equitation, and he's also a trainer, and he also competed in dressage. So since the beginning, I didn't want to be bullfighter as my brother. Then he followed my daddy's career, but I always loved the sport itself. So I found that dressage could put together the sport in general with my love for horses. So I started competing very early as a junior rider, and I did it at the same time as I followed my academic career, so the school and then university. So I could manage to do both things together. And then later I decided to become like professional rider, to dedicate my life to this sport. And of course the relationship with my family and with the horses and with the countryside, it helped a lot, because it's different to grow up in a city and just to see the horse. Even if you start early, then you go to the school, the riding school, 1 hour a day. And in my case, I was lucky to be with the horses every hour that I was home. So we live in our farm. We have the horses. We go out the house, and you have the stables. So actually, I was born and then raised with the horses. So it helped a lot. I think this relationship, then it's much stronger, and it helps a lot in the future when you have to build a relationship with your partner that is a horse, then in competition. And well, then I decided to dedicate my life to the sport and start competing. That's why I travel so much, because then I have to do international competitions. And traveling with horses, it's not so easy. So that's also why I moved to Germany later, because the biggest competitions are around North Europe. So it's nearby to travel around, like Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany, Denmark. And it's not so easy to travel from Portugal, this like 2,000 kilometers with the horses. But of course, my background in Portugal helped me a lot to reach the goal that I wanted to.
I mean, first of all, let's talk about these horses. Or actually, let's just take a step back. For some people that don't know what dressage is, can you explain that, just so that people can paint a picture of what it's about?
Yeah, well, actually, dressage, it's you ride the horse. The main disciplines in Olympics, for example, are jumping. That it's easy to understand for people that doesn't know a lot about this. The jumping, it's the most easy sport to understand. And then the dressage, it's like you can see it as a gymnastics, but with the horses. So we do some movements with the horse inside the ring, specific movements, and those movements are judged by 5 or 7 judges that gives marks to the movements, depending, of course, on how beautiful you do it and how correct you do it and how smooth you do it. So there's a lot of criteria to judge it. And then you get the result for the final percentage of the average of the points you get for that movements. And so it's beautiful to see. Sometimes it's not easy that the people can understand why this one wins to the other one, because it's very, very small details that you judge. But at the end, it's a very nice discipline to watch. Also, and then the final competition where you get the medals, for example, in the Olympics, it's done with music. So it's like a dance, a ball with the rider and the horse. So that's more or less the easiest way to explain this sport.
That's the way I explained it to my daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter, Frederica, and she said, "Dad, who you interviewing next on the podcast?" I said, "It's a lady that makes horses dance." And she thought this was exciting, and I showed her some of your videos on YouTube. It's just beautiful. I remember seeing it many, many years ago and just being absolutely amazed at how detailed the movements is, even the way the horse's head moves with your head. It's absolutely stunning. So anybody listening, check out Maria Caetano Dressage on YouTube, and you're in for something truly, truly special. Maria, going to these horses, it's a special horse that does this. Obviously, it's not just any type of horse. Obviously, the Romans were onto something when they started breeding these horses in our backyard here in Portugal. But what's so special about these horses, and why are they? Why is Portugal have this reputation for breeding such good horses to compete in this sport?
Yeah, well, in the past, like 10 years ago, the horse that was totally dominant, the breed of horse that was totally dominant in the sport was the Warmblood. That's like a breed of horses that are from Germany, the Netherlands, this part of Europe. So these Warmblood horses are horses that are focused for this discipline and also for jumping for a long, long time ago. Then the Lusitano horse, our Portuguese horse, was not so specialized in dressage, but they were bred mostly for bullfighting or for also later in the past for the war, and then for bullfighting and for some country duties. And the breeders, I think 25 years ago, started to think about, the Lusitano can work for dressage. They can do it. And it was a very good and fast work from the breeders. Because when I started in the big game of dressage 15 years ago, the Lusitano was just starting showing up, and the judges were looking like, that's a strange, different horse, because they are smaller, they are more like round and more. They are prettier, but they don't have these powerful movements as the German or Dutch horses. So we had to adapt the breeding, and we did it very, very well and very quickly, because right now, for the number of breeding mares that we have in Portugal, that is a very small breeding, and we are a small country, so we don't have this big number of breeding mares. So if we compare the number of Lusitano horses in general that exists in the world with the number of Central European horses like these warmbloods, and then if you see how many Lusitanos are in the top 100 world ranking of dressage and comparing with the others, it's amazing. So the breeders and the riders and the horse lovers in Portugal did a super job adapting the characteristics of this Lusitano horse to compete in the high level of sport.
Well, I love what you said there. It sounds very Portuguese. Smaller, rounder, but prettier. Yeah. It's it's Portuguese for sure. I mean, your relation, like you mentioned, your relationship with horses started a long time ago. And did you ever think when you were, a young girl growing up in the countryside in a small little part of the Alentejo, that one day you would be flying to Tokyo to represent Portugal in the Olympics?
Yeah, I don't think I thought about this when I was so young, because when I was young, I only saw in my front horses, but I was not thinking about Olympics or World Equestrian Games or European Championships, because I was so passionate about the horse itself that when I was a kid, I just wanted to be with them. And then, of course, when I started competing, my goals started to be at the European Championship for juniors and then young riders. And then when I got senior age, I've been always at the Portuguese team since I'm a senior rider. So I represented Portugal already in 6 European Championships, 2 World Games, 1 World Cup finals. So then it got just running over, and now the Olympics, of course, it's the biggest goal for any sports people, so for any athlete. So I'm really happy to represent Portugal in Tokyo.
Is it the first time that we've done that dressage has been at the Olympics?
Not the dressage.
Okay.
It's in the past. So in London, we got in London, in Peking, in China, we already had Portuguese dressage riders, but they got qualified as individual. And this time it's the first time Portugal qualifies a team.
Wow. Okay.
That's because the qualification as a team, it's very hard, because we have to compete against our group of qualification is the group of the Central Europe. So we have the stronger countries. We have to compete against Germany, the Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden. So because of that, it had been so difficult for Portugal to qualify as a team for Olympic Games. And in 2019, in Europeans in Rotterdam, our Portuguese team could get this qualification for the first time.
Amazing. I think it's an amazing thing. You mentioned the amount of Lusitano horses compared to this other breed, and how it's like doing more than what was expected. I loved hearing about the judges think that the horse was a bit strange looking, but in the end, it made a lot of sense. I mean,
yeah.
I can see from the when you ride the horse that a lot of it's got to do with your movement as well and your relationship with the horse. How much of that is a factor in this riding?
The relationship with the horse.
Yeah,
it affects a lot. Because the signs we have to give to the horse while we are riding, they have to be very, very smooth. It's like you as a spectator, you should not see what I am doing with my hand or with my leg or even with my weight. So it has to be very smooth, very difficult.
Very subtle.
Yeah, exactly. So all the relationship, the communication you can have with the horse, if you know the horse very, very well, it's much easier that he understands you. Sometimes I used to say that I think and my horse feels it directly. Of course, it's not like this, but yeah, they really can feel if you are happy or if you are nervous, you are confident. So if you build a really strong relationship with the animal and not only focus in the technique, of course, it's also important, the technique of riding and to learn and to train and everything. But this at the end, what makes the difference when you are performing, when you are in the arena, is this relationship this connection you have with your horse, because then he can trust you and you can trust him, and everything comes out much more easy and joyful to watch.
It looks so calm. It looks so calm when you do it, and it's funny because Portuguese people don't have a great reputation for always being calm. We have that Southern European reputation of being fiery and passionate, but it looks like a lot of it has to do with calmness. And how important is that?
It's very important. That's sometimes, of course, I'm Portuguese and I have this also fire. And my trainer, well, my father is actually my trainer as well. I didn't mention. So he says sometimes that I have to be cold and that I'm living in Germany. So that he says, like, watch the Germans, they are like stones cold. But it's, of course, then when you can mix both things to be cold and to be calm and to be focused and concentrated. And when you mix it with this Portuguese, spicy, then it's I think it's a good combination, because then you can perform with the heart and to enjoy what you are doing and not only focus in this technique, like doing this and that and in this place and these steps of Piaf, for example. And if you do all what it says that the judges says you have to do, but if you do it with your heart, then it's much beautiful to watch, and then it also reflects in the points the judges give.
How did growing up in that environment and how did being Portuguese or does being Portuguese, do you think, help you with this relationship with the horse, with this mixture of calm but passion and love, and how does that, you said, that influenced you in your career? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, well, as I just said, first the relationship with the horses since the beginning, all the horse riding in the countryside and not only training for a specific discipline, it helps a lot then that you have this communication with the horse that I just told about. And of course, also this Portuguese way of doing the things with the heart and to perform, to show our Portuguese pride. It's also very, very helpful when of course you have to perform in front of people and television and judges. So I think it helps a lot, and also the way of solving problems quickly. It helped me a lot because there's a lot of things to organize. Also that we don't used to mention, like bureaucracy. For example, now for Tokyo, we have to transport the horse, we have to organize the flight, a ton of blood tests of the horse and lots of paperwork. And sometimes people struggle with that. And I think the Portuguese way of seeing the things and to to organize and to be calm and don't stress about doing all this work, it helps me a lot.
Wonderful. I mean, we don't have the biggest Olympic team at the Olympics. I think it's getting bigger and bigger every year, and it's something that I'm really proud of. Is how, for a small country, we represent our country on the world stage. How do you feel about that, and how Portugal's been able to achieve so many big things for such a small country?
Yeah, Portugal has this ability to be a small country and achieving really high goals since 900 years ago. So we can, being small, we can conquer big things. So I think in the sport is the same. We see also in football and not only in the Olympics, and we see how Portuguese people can arrive in different environments and different countries and difficult situations and can show strengths and get amazing results. So I think it's really in our blood to, despite our size or our scale, we just arrive and we give our best and we succeed.
You have a friend there?
It's my dog.
It's okay. I heard it. I thought it sounded like a dog.
My dog was sleepy and went away.
And when do how are the plans coming along for the Olympics? Are you all in Germany training together, or will you meet up later on? How does it all?
Yeah, no, I think one of the riders is still in Portugal. Rodrigo Torres. The other rider is João Torrão. He's now in Belgium for training since 1 month ago, but he was previously based in Portugal. And we will meet in Germany, in Aachen, the week before we go to Tokyo. So then we will train together. The horses also need to do quarantine there. So all the horses that are flying to Tokyo has to stay in the same place 1 week before they fly to Tokyo. Yeah, and so the team trainer will be there, and we will build our team spirit that also for the Portuguese is very easy to do. Portuguese people have this easy team spirit and support each other. So yeah, despite we are separate during the year, then when we are together, we really work as a team.
I mean, that's something that you mentioned, was that it's the first time that we've qualified as a team for dressage. What was different this time around that made it happen and that worked so well?
We could have together four strong horses and riders in the qualification championships, so we could finally have these results from it, because to qualify a team or a competition as a team, it is just the sum of the individual results, well, the average actually. So if you have 3 individuals with very good results, so then the team will get a good score. So that was what happened in Rotterdam 2019. Because in the past we used to have 1-2 very strong riders, very strong combinations, but as the sport of dressage was not so developed in Portugal, we could never put a team together, a strong team together. And now we have even more than 4. Now we have like 8 combinations that are ready to have good results in big competitions. So I think for example, in Olympics in Paris, it will be even stronger, the dressage, the Portuguese dressage. So it's now in a exponential growth, I think, in Portugal, this sport.
Yeah, why is it growing so quickly? Is it got to do with the horses as well, or do you think it's just the fact that we've got this talent already in the country and it's starting to realize its potential?
It's both things, because Portuguese people has already this talent for horse riding in the blood, and also the horses, the Lusitano horses, has this talent to perform and to be together with the rider and to give it all for the rider since a long time ago. So now we discovered, not now, but some years ago, we discovered this sport and we studied it better and we prepared our riders better. And then the riders have much more knowledge, very good training. So we could take the talent that was already inside the people and the horses, and with work and with more knowledge, and then we could find very good trainers from Germany, from all over Europe that were more experienced. So now we are able to put everything together and to wait for some very good results.
I'm excited. I love the Portuguese national anthem. The first time I heard it was at a Portuguese football game, and it gave me arrepiados, goosebumps everywhere. And I hope that you'll be singing it come the Olympics. It'll be special.
Well, I think it's not these Olympics that we will be in the medals yet, but I think we can expect a good result for Portugal in Tokyo, and maybe in some years we can go for the medals as a team.
It'll be good. Maria, back to the horses. You mentioned how the judges thought that they looked so unique and different. Mm-hmm. You also mentioned that it's so much to do with little movements and little things that you're doing with your body. Mm-hmm. What are the little things here in Portugal that contribute to breeding such beautiful animals, such healthy animals, such talented animals? What are these little things that are happening here that we're able to produce these horses so frequently here in Portugal?
I think it's the ability that the people in Portugal have to choose the horses that can be a team with the rider, and not only a horse for work or for driving or carriages like in the past. The horses were in most part of the countries used only for work, of course a valuable animal and a valuable asset. But people in other countries didn't have in the past this relationship with the horse, and didn't look at the horse as a team member. And in Portugal, we started very soon to use the horse in the war. So you really had to trust the horse, and the horse really had to fight for you. So people started since long time ago to choose the best horses and to select the horses from the ones who can really be with you and who can really fight for you and who can really feel what you need. So this Lusitano breed, it's so special because of that, and it's different because I also ride sometimes horses, the different breeds of horses. And with Lusitanos, the thing is that they can be nervous at a time, or they can be looking to other things or not focused. But then when they get in the arena, they get in the ring, or even for the bullfighters in the bullfighting, whatever, doing what they have to do, they really try to do their best for the rider. And you can really feel it. And I think that's what makes the Lusitano such a special horse comparing with the others, is this because they were selected since the beginning for that. The riders really need them first to the war, then to the bullfighting, because they have to be with the bull inside the ring. So they really have to be connected with the rider. So I think that's what makes them so special.
Yeah, it's phenomenal when you see them. When you see the way the horse reacts so quickly and sometimes so calmly. What about conditions for breeding here? Portugal is a good place for that, and for what reasons?
Yes. The scale of the size of the countryside we have, it's really good, because we can have big pastures where we breed the horses since foals, completely in freedom. Not of course you can have them in the stables or and touch them and so on. But then I think the horses need until they are 3 years old. That's when we start riding them. They need to be free and to live this country life with the mothers, and then with also the friends until they are 3 years old, to play outside, to run, and then it makes them stronger to grow up like this. And in some places in Europe, the scale of the size of the country, or the properties in the countryside, they are not so big. So they have to breed the horses in small parks, and of course with all the conditions. But these, I think, this rusticity, I don't know what's something that is rustic.
Okay, yeah, the rustic area, yeah.
Yeah, then the horse gets stronger because they know how to live in the natural life and in freedom. So then it's also important. Then we have not so many rains, so the grass is not as green as in other countries. But of course, we can give some supplements for that, and it's not a problem.
Wonderful, and good food.
Yeah. They need good food, and Portugal agriculture can provide them with these good nutrients easily.
I mean, you're going to be representing Portugal on one of the biggest stages ever. But what do you want people to know about your country?
I want that people feel that the Portuguese pride, it's so strong that we can reach very strong goals, even we are not so many people, and even if we are not so known in some sports. And then our heart and our strength as Portuguese people, we can really, they can wait from Portuguese athletes that we can do our best and reach higher level of sport.
Maria, we said at the beginning of the conversation that you smile every time you start speaking about your teja. When you're far away from home, when you're traveling, when you are getting ready to compete, what are those things that inspire you from home to smile and to do your best?
I always remember the good times I have in Portugal around the table. As you said, for our family, it's very important because we used to have lunch, all the family together when we are at home, because we all work in the same farm, all the family. So I miss these conversations around the table a lot, but also it motivates me when I'm far away and I think about these. And when I go there for a weekend or so, it gives me a lot of power, let's say, to come back and then give my best when I'm away alone in traveling around the world.
I love it. I love how much food inspires us in this country. It's so important.
Very important part of the quality of life, I think.
Yeah, it's true. But it's so much more than what's on the table. It's the whole experience of what's happening around the table and the moment, which is so special. Maria, what's one thing that you would like people to remember and take away from this conversation?
I would like that people feel, as I said before, that being Portuguese, it's a question of pride, of something that you take with you wherever you go, and then these little things that being Portuguese inspire you and give you strength to go over difficulties.
And just how can listeners follow you online, see what you're doing, and be kept up to date with the next steps in your journey?
You can follow me on Instagram. That is open to everyone who wants to follow, and I try to keep it as updated as possible. And of course, on YouTube there is a lot of videos where you can see what dressage is. And I guess the normal media now will cover a lot the Olympics. And of course, in Facebook also I have my account, so I'm happy that followers come to me.
Okay, so we're going to put show notes. We're going to put links in the show notes so that people can follow. And then for people listening, if you're looking for a dressage team to support at the Tokyo Olympics, look no further than Maria and her team, because it's going to be amazing. And they're going to do it with smiles on their faces and beautiful horses.
Yeah. For sure. With
Maria,
smiles always.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Portuguese way.
Yeah, that's it.
Maria, a question that we ask all of our guests: Portugal, the simple life. Why?
I think that in one word, it's the people of Portugal that makes so simple to live there. I think the people helps you in every way. They are always happy to receive other people, to help in any case. And then now that I'm living in different countries for some years, I know what it is to have something to solve and to ask for help in the street or in the bank or in any kind of situations that you have to solve, and how easy it is to do it in Portugal, and that you can just talk to anybody in the street and everyone is happy to help. This is for me really, really special in Portugal and makes life so simple and beautiful in this country.
Wonderful. Maria, thank you so much. This has been a lovely conversation. I'll be cheering for you in a few months' time. Thank you for making our country proud and for representing our country soon, and with always with a smile and with so much grace. So thank you so much for this conversation, and thank you for being part of the podcast.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And now I'm going to let you call it.
That's a wrap.
So thank you once again to Maria, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We'd love to hear from you. And as we say in Portugal, força. Welcome to the simple life.